good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner on Friday, the 9th of January, where I think we've got snow over most of the country. We've got storms down in Cornwall, but actually it's not that bad in London. I'll be absolutely honest, I went out and didn't cycle into work this morning because I was a bit worried about the rain and the wind and the cold. Probably should have done. But there you go. One day off, not cycling isn't a bad thing. I'll be back on the bike on Monday. Morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning to you. Just fine, thank you.
Excellent. That's good to hear. Right, we better start with the big story, shall we say, which is Rio and Glencore are back on, and it's not actually just back on. If you look at the statement from Glencore this morning, that obviously the RNS, it actually goes through the mechanism with the way that the whole merger will go ahead. In other words, it's pretty damn certain to go ahead. And actually, of course, this tells you everything you need to know about the bull market in commodities. This is exactly what it's all about. We're in a mega bull market for commodities, and it's going to last quite a long while. People's exposure to commodities is way, way too low. It's going to take years to get everybody at the right sort of levels. The market likes it. Glencore's up 32p which is a rise of nearly 8%. So the market likes that side of it all. And Rio actually is down a fraction, down a couple of percent. But I think that's just because people feel that Glencore's getting the better side of the deal. Both stocks, in my view, will actually perform really well now for the next 12 months. But Paul, what's your take on it?
Yeah, this statement out from Glencore, they did specifically say they or formally acknowledge the speculation that those talks are underway for a merger of Rio with Glencore. And it's anticipated that, or Glencore had said that it would be by a scheme of arrangement to bring the two companies together. I would caution investors. First of all, Glencore obviously would get a big exposure to iron ore trading, much more so than previously, as well as lithium trading with Rio Tinto's recent moves in the last 18 months in the lithium space. But you can expect with the merger of such large companies as these two that there would be an awful lot of government scrutiny to take some period of time for because Glencore is also such a significant metals trader. To The governments would have some concern about concentrations of market share with these two together. So it will take some time if it goes through. But of course, as you say, the large institutions like to see this to create some investable behemoths, as it were, as they've had for decades now in the oil and gas space. They would then have as an example in the mining space.
Well, governments may get concerned because they normally do, but if you just look at what's going on in America, where they're just wandering around the world capturing all resources, if any government's got any sense, they'll let this go through without too much scrutiny. Good point. We don't have a government with any common sense, do we? Anyway, right, let's move on. Strategic Minerals had a little bit of a trading update and Q4 trading, which is all very positive. Obviously, Strategic Minerals, we know, was a phenomenal performer last year. The tin price is still very, very strong, very close to $45,000. And obviously, our tip for this, or my tip for this year, is Tamar Minerals, which is basically a sort of a similar company to Strategic Minerals, but didn't perform last year, and so it's got a lot of catching up to do. But Paul, talk us through the trading update.
Yeah, this is more or less a Q4 and the full year 2025 summary of what they have achieved across their three different initiatives. The first of all, the Redmoor Tungsten Tin Copper Project in Cornwall under Cornwall Resources, which is of most interest to us here in the UK. They received some government grant money as part of their supporting program toward the Redmoor pre-feasibility this year. They also did some more drilling at Redmoor on 8 holes, of which 3 holes came up with really significant new mineralization. And they've been upgrading facilities, and with better funding, they have built up the exploration team there at Redmoor. On their Southern Minerals Group initiative, that's their Cobre magnetite stockpile. New Mexico iron finds production, which sustains their G&A over the last several years. They did sell more magnetite again, with Q4 sales up 4% on Q3, and Q3 was up by 45% on Q2. So total sales came in for 2025 at $4.23 million. So nice support for the ongoing fixed costs that Strategic Minerals have. And finally, their third project, which has been on the back burner for a little while now, the Lee Creek Copper project in South Australia. There is initiative in order to see this essentially getting taken on as a new or revived initiative where another company would take it toward production. So there is progress being made there at this point.
Yeah, again, the comparison with Tamar is Tamar obviously has gold assets in Australia, which it's looking to sell and monetize, which will bring hopefully quite a few million into the balance sheet, which is why it's got a similar comparison. Paul, there was an update yesterday from Myriad Uranium. Obviously, uranium is my commodity for the year. I notice it's just ticked up another $1.82 or so. But what's the update from Myriad?
In this particular case, what had been pending for a little while with Myriad is now formalized. There is a binding and updated letter of intent now for them to take out the minority partner on their Copper Mountain uranium project. That's the Rush Rare Metals, such that Myriad would have 100% then of the issued and outstanding shares of Rush, and therefore 100% of the Copper Mountain project as well. The deal is for one Myriad share for every 1.85 Rush shares. And that would result in Rush shareholders having about 18%, or represents, excuse me, a premium to Rush shareholders of about 18% on the 20-day VWAP number there. So at this point in time, Myriad had already earned 75% into the Copper Mountain project per the prior deal. So it, I think, will proceed without too much issue.
Yeah, Myriad Uranium already up 30% year to date, which is a pretty good start to the year, but still has actually got plenty to go. This is just the bull market we're in. Maybe finally, it is Friday, we mustn't be too long. Pulsar Helium, one of those ones. Is it a mining stock? Is it a gas stock? We'll call it mining. Their Jetstream 5 well seems to be going phenomenally well, Paul, but they've just updated on that, haven't they?
Yes, that's right. They've hit an unexpected new significant high pressure gas zone in that Jetstream 5 well on their Topaz project in Minnesota. Remember, that is a Minnesota helium exploration field program. And this particular interval is down at 2,850 feet. The total depth, well depth, is intended on Jetstream 5 is 5,000 feet. And once they have this hole completed, then they'll do a detailed a testing regime on holes 3, 4, and 5, which would take about 6 weeks.
Very good. We'll call it a day there. Everybody have a very good weekend. I think Saturday will be right. Sunday not quite so good, and rather a miserable week next week. But we'll be back telling you all the good stories. Thanks a lot.
Very good. See you then.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.